Hello, my name is Janae Wilkinson, and thank you for coming in today to listen on my speech about schools' responsibility of financial education. Have you ever not known what to do in a financial situation, like financing a car, taking out a loan, realizing you want to improve your credit score to take out said loan, or maybe you just want to spend less money in general? Those are all financial situations that many of us have had to ask for advice on. Even more so, have you ever considered that we should already know how to do these things by the time we're an adult? Because we totally should. No matter your age, income, or your current life situation, you should have enough financial literacy to do these things on your own by the time you're an adult. According to the Federal Student Aid Office, financial literacy by definition is understanding how to earn, manage, and invest your own money. It has a significant impact on making smart financial decisions that later affect your financial success in your later adult life. I took my own financial literacy elective in high school to be able to understand that concept, and now I even have an interest account that I've been investing in since I was 16. With that being said, I'm confident in saying that being financially educated enables people like you and everybody else to make the most out of the money that you earn. For example, having good credit gets you better interest rates. You can save the most money that you possibly can and basically earn more money out of your income instead of losing more. The inaccessibility of financial education in your adolescence and your childhood leads to low financial literacy that can affect the outcome of your entire life. So, is this really the responsibility of schools or parents? Who should be taking accountability? I argue that schools are responsible for already failing to provide sufficient financial preparation for students. I say this because some parents do not have enough financial education to educate their children on the matter, sufficiently at least. Students with low income backgrounds are especially less likely to have competent financial literacy due to their parents lacking knowledge and the lack of opportunity to learn about it in school. That being said, schools prioritize general education under the guise of preparing you for adulthood instead of focusing on one of the most important parts of your adult life, financial responsibility and managing your own money. But why put all the blame on schools? Well, when taking a closer look, I hope the answer becomes clear. As I've stated before, some parents simply are not financially educated enough to teach their children how to manage money. According research from the FINRA or FINRA Foundation's National Financial Capability Study measures financial literacy based on 7 financial questions. According to Lynn and other authors in this study, only 46% of adults were able to answer 4 out of 7 questions correctly. Even further extending on that, only 4% of adults could answer all 7 questions correctly. These adults cannot educate others if they do not understand the concepts themselves. Thankfully, based on Lynn and these other authors' findings, they conclude that throughout 2009 to 2001, or 2021, they have found a breakaway from declining financial literacy rates. Junior Achievement USA's Teen Financial Literacy Survey from 2022 states that there's still a large concern in teenagers feeling unprepared and financially anxious about their future. That being said, it could be likely that financial literacy levels will increase in young adults due to this anxiety because there's already signs of people wanting more financial education in schools. Majority of teenagers agree that taking a personal finance class would be valuable. As can be seen in this image to the right, this is from the Junior Achievement USA's Teen Survey from 2018. They established this majority that becomes important for schools to listen to. If the adults responsible for these children cannot educate them, schools have the capability to do so to further avoid declining financial literacy rates. There's now a correlation between incomes that we will discuss to understand just how inaccessible financial education is for some parties. As per Stanford's Initiative for Financial Decision Making, low income households are more susceptible or more likely to having low financial literacy. Furthermore, according to National Education Research, I'm sorry, excuse my miswords. According to the National Education Association research, which is abbreviated with NEA, these individuals are less likely to be financially responsible in terms of saving, spending more than their income, and simply borrowing too much money from credit cards and loans. Lynn and other authors from FINRA Foundation also state, quote, financial literacy also correlates positively with financial well-being. In correlation, it is fair to presume financial education becomes crucial to improving low-income households' financial literacy and ultimately younger generations' financial well-being. Now we're going to take a closer look at this economic gap, that the only way to get rid of this gap is to truly focus on educating those who don't have competent financial literacy and then ultimately their financial well-being. This graph is sourced from Stanford's Initiative for Financial Decision Making, and the percentages shown above the bars depend on how many respondents answered all questions correctly. They base this off of 3 significant financial literacy topics. 1, compound interest, 2, inflation, and 3, risk comprehension. As you can see, those who are more financially well off, making over $100,000 a year, answer more questions correctly than those with lower incomes. If anything, you can see the trend that the less money that these people make, the less financially literate they are. Or rather, the less financially literate they are, the less money they make. With that being said, Junior Achievement USA's 2018 survey for teens, which is also shown in the image on the right, states that teens in households making less than $100,000 a year are less likely to seek any financial advice from their parents or other resources. Those low-income families are less likely to financially educate themselves, then therefore it has worsened the economic gap in financial literacy levels, and this gap can only be narrowed by financial education provided by schools. As I just stated, the responsibility to financially educate people then falls upon schools rather than the households who clearly do not have the resources to do so. Schools are responsible for providing sufficient financial education to prepare young adults, and they're not fulfilling this obligation. I could not be any more urgent about this point. The Council of Economic Education established literally just this year that only 39 U.S. states require a personal finance course to be taken in order to graduate. This should be 50 out of 50 states, because only a year before that, Junior Achievements USA's excuse my miswording again. Only a year before that, Junior Achievement USA's teen survey from 2025 found that even with a gradual increase, only 64% of these students believed that their personal finance class was actually successful in helping them understand financial literacy. This enables the claim that not only is financial education less accessible than it should be, but when it is, the course isn't even effective for half of the students. Drawing from that conclusion, with effective financial education that is ideally accessible to all, people's financial capabilities can increase and improve their financial well-being in adulthood. It's just a matter of schools considering financial education a part of general education. I understand that's a lot to take in, so let's review a final time on why this is so important. As I've argued, schools are more responsible for failing to provide competent financial education for students. I say this because some parents don't have enough financial education to provide effective financial advice or education for their own children. Students with low income backgrounds especially are less likely to have high financial literacy due to the inaccessibility in their school and their household. Generally, schools prioritize general education, but financial education is not considered general education when it's one of the most important parts of being an adult. It is safe to say that there's insufficient financial education that then indicates low financial literacy in adulthood, and as the National Education Research says, being financially literate means people can follow healthy financial behaviors like planning for retirement, having good credit, and minimizing loans and credit card use, etc., because there's a lot that coincides with financial responsibility. This responsibility should be given to schools so that at some point parents from our generation and so forth and so on may be able to educate future generations to maximize financial well-being for everybody in the United States. The best thing a person could do to help themselves is to make their money work for them, and it all starts with accessibility to financial education. I thank you all for listening to my speech on financial education. I realize that this may not be a topic that everybody wants to talk about, but it's important in order for us to be successful in our lives, and I hope that everybody can see that. These are all of my sources. And it does continue to a second page. And thank you for listening. I hope you all have a great day.